Greetings everyone, it is IT2 coming to you from my backyard on my new GoPro that Kambella has purchased for me. I thought I was going to have to set the voice commands for the device, which if I say it, it'll alert it that I'm going to do a command and it might turn the recording off or not. I saw a blink. Did you stop recording? I didn't say GoPro stop recording. GoPro and then start recording. But if you have to say it all in one word, or it doesn't work. That's smart as fuck. I'm like saying all these weird words in between. It knows the differences. I was actually going to set it up to make it start with the word action and then cut for turning it off. But I guess it just comes pre-programmed to, like, it doesn't even know my voice. I didn't have to like calibrate it or anything. I don't know if you're picking up all this noise where this guy is mowing a field next to me. He doesn't realize I'm doing YouTube stuff over here. So I don't know about how good the quality of the audio is right now. If you can hear me though, which I assume you can because the camera knows what to do, I want to do a review on this new TV series I started watching. I think it's on Amazon Prime. Not really sure. It's called Motherland, Fort Salem. So this is like a first impressions of that show. And it's really good. It's almost like one of those shows, like an alternate history show, like Handmaid's Tale. Is that one? I think that's sort of an alternate history tale. And then you got the Man in the High Castle, where the Nazis won World War I or II or whatever. So this one is about like the Salem witch trials. You remember back in the 1800s that they had the Salem witch trials in Salem, Massachusetts, and they hang all these witches? This is like a different take on it. It's like they don't hate the witches, they see them as superheroes, sort of. So they made them like the leaders of their armies, and they conscript them into the ranks of the armies, you know, and they give them these medals. So it starts out the first day, these three witches are conscripting into the army of the witch army, or I don't even know what it's called. But it's kind of like Starship Troopers. There's a lot of propaganda. It's a really good intro. All these shows that have really good intros kind of get me hooked on them. And this one has like the leader of the United States, or I guess she's a leader, she's a general in the army. She's like a 300-something-year-old witch who's been alive since before the country was founded, so like early 1700s when she was born. But she looks like she's like 40-something. So she's the leader, and like one of the witches is she gets in trouble and she has to go to her office, and she goes by this painting, and it's like when Washington crossed the Delaware. Remember that picture when he's on a little boat in the middle of the night? It's a bunch of fucking witches, and it's so sick looking. And that woman that's the leader currently, she's like the main witch. It's like George Washington pointing in front of the boat, and like all these old witches that are around her, and they do this weird creepy stuff. They might have been the ones that were on the boat with her, I don't know. But it's like they use their voices and they kind of sing. Usually it takes three of them. A lot of like The Craft and other kind of shows about witches, you have to have three people. And they harmonize and they can cast spells, sort of like songs. Oh, also in this painting, there's a bunch of tornadoes in the background. Because there's this one that was like casting like a tornado, and it split into 6 tornadoes. So apparently witches can do like a lot of storm and fury is what they call it. So they do a lot of magic with storms and stuff. So one witch, though, the black chick, she's like a legacy. Her bloodline goes back to her grandma, who was a slave in the 1800s. So why did her grandma die so easily? And this one woman lived for 300 years. I guess it's just from being in war. It's like the odds that you'll die are increased or whatever. But that was kind of odd. But the main character is this little white girl, and her whole point is she wants to get in the army so she can get on the front lines and die, because she's just depressed because her mom died in a war. I think it was in the Middle East somewhere, and it said like she was surrounded by sand that had been melted into glass, where they hit her with like a lightning bolt or a fireball or something. It was so hot, it melted the sand in the glass around her. So kind of almost gives you a Naruto kind of vibe to it too. Well, I don't know what the deal was with the other chick. She wasn't really that, they didn't explain much about her. Only that her parents didn't want her joining the army, and they said like once you take the oath, they have you for life. Kind of like they would say if you were joining the real army. And even like in the real army, you know how people like they'll give up their seats on buses and planes and stuff for the military. Like, instead of people hating these witches, she's going to get on her flight to go to Fort Salem, and this guy's like, he sees her medal that she's offering to the plane chick. They don't even have to have like money or anything. Just show them the medal if they're a witch. And like, oh, you're a witch, come on in. This guy's like, oh, I'm going to Boston, you can have my seat, and he gives up his seat for this witch. It's like total, like, flips it on its head. The way people used to hate witches, the way now they kind of adore witches. So Fort Salem is like this place, they say it's like only for witches. It's the only place that only witches exist in. And it's kind of like Harry Potter in a way, because they'll get demerits if they fuck up, if they skip class or whatever. And then there's this group of evil witches called the Spree that are working against them somehow. And like, she's one of the main Spree. Like, instead of suicide bombers like we have from our military, where you just blow yourself up, they go and they cast a spell with a balloon, and the balloon pops, and everybody that's in range that hears that balloon, they just start climbing to the top of this 3 or 4 story building and jumping off of it. That's what a suicide bomb is. So the woman that does that, the suicide bomber, which can still live because it's a different kind of suicide bomber, she's disguised as the main character's love interest, so she doesn't know she's dating the terrorist. That's all episode 1. That's just my first impression. That's amazing. It's a really good show. So I've been flipping through some other shows, and I haven't really liked a bunch, but I was watching Tiger King. I might do a review on Tiger King pretty soon, but if you get a chance to watch Motherland, Fort Salem, definitely check that out. It's a good show. And hopefully you've been able to hear me. I've been kind of yelling into my backyard because I got birds screeching. I got a tractor driving around. It's just like a test of my GoPro. I don't know if it's going to turn out good or not. Shut up! Also, I've been reading this book, Number of the Beast by Robert Heinlein. It's a lot of pervy shit. He gets into a lot of like weird, like people wanting to be naked all the time and having sex, and like he just kind of, the science is pretty good in it, but the rest of it's just kind of, it's kind of like pornography or something. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do a review of this one. It's just kind of a lot of fucking. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording. Now it's not doing it. GoPro, stop recording.